Welcome back to the Acosta E.T.F channel. I'm your host, Lewis, and in this channel, we focus on all things engineering, technology, and finance. Welcome to the engineering series, where we learn about a core technology, and we use that technology in order to incorporate it into our projects. And in this series, we're going to focus on PHP. So let's get started with our first lesson in PHP. In order to work with the technology, we need to make sure our environment is set up properly. So let's go ahead and set up our environment in order to be able to use PHP. Before we get started coding in PHP, there's a couple of prerequisites that we need to complete in order to make sure that we're ready to code. So first thing we have to do is install as many browsers as possible, because we want to make sure that our code works with the many different browsers that people use. So an example can be Firefox, Chrome, Safari, right? Those are browsers. We need to make sure that we have them readily available. The second thing that we do is we install our text editor in order to be able to open up the code and edit. There'll be a link in the description that shows you the recommended text editors and how you go ahead and install them and set them up on your computer. And the last tool that we need to set up is a PHP server. And in our case, we're going to be using Xampp. This PHP server allows us to test our code before actually moving the code into a production environment. So let's go ahead and tackle steps 1 through 3. We are now in my Windows 10 machine, and in order to be able to see what web browsers that we are going to install to be able to run our PHP code, we need to see what are the most popular web browsers. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open up Microsoft Edge. So let's head over to Google. And let's type in web traffic by web browser. All right, so according to Wikipedia, as we can see here, the top browsers are Chrome, Safari, Edge, and Firefox. So let's go ahead and make sure that we install all 4 of those browsers on our Windows machine. Given that we are going to download Google Chrome, here are the steps in order to do that. So let's open up a new tab, head over to google.com, and we are going to type in Chrome. So Google Chrome comes up, and it's going to be the first tab, so Google Chrome, and the browser built by Google. So let's go ahead and download Chrome. Once it's done downloading, we can open up the file. Let's click yes on the user account control. And we're just going to give this a couple minutes to install. And as you can see here, Google Chrome is now installed on our machine. So let's go ahead and do the next one. So we have Safari and Edge and Firefox. So Edge actually comes with Windows 10. So we actually can skip that one. Safari, unfortunately, is not supported in Windows anymore. So we can see that if I were to go to downloads and let's say get Safari the latest update, and as you can see here, Safari for Windows, Apple no longer supports it, and Safari 5.1.7 was the latest version, which is of course now outdated very long ago. So in this particular case, we're going to skip over Safari. I would recommend, if you are going to use Safari, to get a Mac computer and have both working side by side in order to test out your code. So let's move on to installing Firefox. So let's head over to Google again, type in Firefox, and of course it's by Mozilla. So go ahead and click download here and download Firefox. The installer should automatically download. Let's click on open file, say yes to the user account control, and we're just going to give this a couple of seconds to install. Now you can see here that we have Firefox installed on our machine. So let's go ahead and close out of these guys. And you can see here on the desktop we have Firefox, Google Chrome, and Edge, 3 browsers in order to try out our code. Let's take a look at how we install the popular web browser on our Mac. As you remember, we have Chrome, Edge, Firefox, and Safari. One of them is already done for us, as Safari already comes with our Mac. Our first browser to install will be Google Chrome. So let's go ahead and go to google.com. Let's type in Chrome. And we're going to click the option that says Google Chrome, download the fast, secure browser. And it should automatically detect that this is for a Mac. So let's go ahead and download Chrome. And this is the Mac with Intel chip. Now your Mac may differ, so make sure you figure out which one it could be. It could be the Intel chip, or it can be with the Apple chip. The particular Mac that I have has an Intel chip. We're gonna click allow. Now that it's done downloading, let's go ahead to our downloads. And let's open up the Google Chrome.dmg. Let's go ahead and drag our Google Chrome to the application. And now we just give it time to copy the application. And let's go ahead and open up Google Chrome just to make sure that we have no issues with it. So let's go ahead and open Chrome. Click open. So here it's just saying welcome to Google Chrome, and you have the option to make it your default browser. I'm going to uncheck these items, but you can keep them as default if you like. So let's go ahead and start Google Chrome, and Google Chrome is installed on our Mac. Now the next browser to install is Firefox. So let's head over to mozilla.org or mozilla.org, and we're going to click on Firefox browser, and let's make sure we click on Firefox for desktop. And we're going to click download Firefox. We're going to allow. Let's open up our downloads, and we're going to launch the Firefox 93.0 DMG. Now we copy over Firefox to our applications, and we'll give that about a minute to finish copying. Now let's open up our applications, and we do that by going to Go and Applications. And we should see Firefox, so let's open up Firefox. And we're going to click open. And as you can see here, Firefox opens up with no problems. So we're all set with installing Firefox. So the last browser to install is Microsoft Edge. So let's go to google.com. Let's type in Microsoft Edge. And we're going to click the link from Microsoft.com, and it's going to be download Microsoft Edge web browser. And we're going to click download for Mac OS. And for my particular machine, it's going to be with the Intel chip. Again, make sure that you're picking the right Mac computer. Yours can have an Apple chip. This particular one has an Intel chip. And we're going to accept and download. And let's click allow. Okay, let's open up our downloads folder. And we're gonna open up the Microsoft Edge 95 package. We're going to hit continue. We're going to leave the location as default, and we're gonna hit install, and we're gonna type in our password to allow the software to install. Okay, let's close out of the installation window. So now we have all 4 browsers installed on our Mac, and we can check on that by going to Go, Applications, and under all applications we can see here that we have Firefox, we have Google Chrome, we have Safari over here, and then we also have Microsoft Edge over here. So we have the 4 top browsers installed on our Mac, and we're ready to start testing our PHP code with all 4 browsers. We are now ready to install our web browsers on our Linux distribution. In this case, we are running Fedora 34. One of the nice things about Fedora is it automatically includes our Firefox browser. So if we were to type in which Firefox, we can see that Firefox is located in user bin. So we can actually go ahead and launch it just to make sure that it works. And we can see that Firefox comes up with no problem. So that's awesome. Now the next browser on our list is Google Chrome. So in order to install Google Chrome, we're going to use the DNF command. We are going to type in sudo to give us elevated privileges, DNF, install Google Chrome, and we're going to give it a -Y for automatically say yes to downloading any packages associated with it. And we're going to type in our password. Okay, Google Chrome should now be installed, so let's take a look. We can do a which Google Chrome, and we see that it's also installed in the user bin, so let's go ahead and launch it by typing in Google Chrome. And we see here that we're presented with the welcome to Google Chrome, and it wants us to make Google Chrome the default browser. I will uncheck these for now. Let's just hit OK. And we can see that Google Chrome is up and running. So the next browser to download is Microsoft Edge. In this case, we are going to type in the navigation bar Microsoft Edge RPM. And the RPM is the package that we use to install on our Linux distribution, which is Fedora. Once we have typed in the Microsoft Edge RPM and we search for that, we're going to click on Download Microsoft Edge Insider Channel. We are going to download the beta. So as you can see here, this is software that's currently under beta. Let's go ahead and click that and click Accept Download. It is currently downloaded, so what we can do is let's minimize this and let's head over to our downloads folder, and we can see that it's in our home directory. So let's do CD, and I'm using the tilde just in case you don't happen to be in your home directory. So you can go over downloads, and we can see here that we have our Microsoft Edge beta. So let's go ahead and use elevated privileges. So sudo DNF install Microsoft, and we type out Microsoft Edge beta. And we're going to hit -Y in case it needs to download any packages, and we'll hit enter on that. And type in our password. Okay, great. So now we can launch it. So let's type in Microsoft Edge to open up the browser. And we can see here that we have Microsoft Edge up and running. We just finished installing all the browsers for both Windows, Linux, and Mac. Now we are ready to move on to installing our text editor on our platform. So whether it's Windows, Linux, and Mac. So let's get started on that. Now remember, there is a link in the video description that will teach you on how to walk through installing the text editors of choice on your platform. So go ahead and pause this video, jump onto the other one, and we'll see you back on this video once you're done. Finally, we go on to the third part, which is installing a PHP server. In our case, we're going to use Xampp. So let's jump right into that and see how that's done. We are now ready to install Xampp on our Windows 10 platform. So let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Edge. And once we open up Microsoft Edge, our internet browser, let's head over to google.com. We are going to type in Xampp here. And we should click our first option, which is apachefriends.org. And here you can see all about Xampp. And we're going to click on the Xampp for Windows. And it should automatically kick off the download. If it doesn't, there is an option at the top of the screen for a manual. Once it's done downloading, you can see that we can open up the file. And we're going to go ahead and click Open File. So hit yes on that. Click Yes. Click OK on that. We're going to click Next in the setup window. We're going to leave everything as default. Click Next. We're going to leave the folder as default. Click Next through the following options. Click Next. And it should be installing now, so we'll give that a moment or two. install. As you saw before, it asked to open up a web page with an internet browser, so we just chose Microsoft Edge. You can choose one of your choice, and it'll just bring you to the bitnavi.com webpage. We are going to give this a couple minutes to finish. We're going to click Allow Access. And this has to do with the Windows Defender's firewall. And we're going to click Finish on the setup window, and you just finished installing Xampp on your Windows 10 platform. Now let's install Xampp on our Mac platform. First thing we're going to do is we're going to launch Safari. Once we have launched Safari, let's head over to the same website that we used prior in order to download Xampp. And remember, it's apachefriends.org. Once the page comes up, you will see here that you have different options to download. So we'll make sure that we click Xampp for OS X. And the download should automatically complete. You may run an issue when downloading Xampp OS X version 8.0.9. And in that version, we had a problem where it just was stuck downloading. It would not download. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on where it says click here to kick off the download manually. And from there, it'll take us to the SourceForge website. And the Xampp download should automatically kick off. We're going to click allow to allow the download from sourceforge.net, and we should see here that I have Xampp OS X version 7.4.22 instead of the other version that is trying to download and will not, which is version 8.0.9. So we'll give that a second to finish downloading. Once it's done downloading, we could open up our downloads, and we see the Xampp OS X version 7.4.22. Let's go ahead and open that. Let's drag over Xampp to the applications folder, and now it's copying Xampp to our applications, and we'll give that a minute to complete. And now we can search for Xampp, and we can click open, and it seems to be the first execution of the software, so we need to click OK on this one. Let's type in our password, and you can see here that Xampp opens up, and we can start working with the stack. We are now ready to install Xampp on our Linux distribution. Again, we have Fedora 34, so first thing we need to do is open up Firefox, which is our browser. Once we have our browser open, let's head over to the download page for Xampp, and that's going to be at apachefriends.org. And let's click on Xampp for Linux, and we're going to save the file. Once it's done downloading, let's head back to our terminal, and let's go over to our downloads folder where we can see our Xampp for Linux installer. You want to make sure that you have executable permissions on the Xampp installer. If you do not know how to do that, follow the next step, which is to use the chmod command, and we are going to change the permissions to be able to run the installer. With the permissions changed, now we are able to run the installer. So once the installer comes up, we're just going to hit next. We're going to hit next here, and we're going to click next. Keep everything default and just run through and click next. And we're going to give this a few minutes to install. Xampp is now installed on our Linux machine, and we can see that the wizard has completed. So we can go ahead and hit the finish button, and Xampp should automatically launch. And as we can see here, Xampp is running. By now, you should be well versed in getting started with PHP. We took a look at 3 different things. We took a look at how to install different browsers for whichever platform you're using, so Linux, Windows, or Mac. We also took a look at how do you install an editor. So you should have one installed on your platform by now. And lastly, we took a look at installing a PHP server, and you should also have that installed on your platform. Stick around until the next video where we jump into our first lesson in PHP coding. In the meantime, if you found this video to be helpful, go ahead and hit the like and the subscribe button, as we're going to be posting content regularly. And also, if you want somebody else to learn on how to code in PHP, go ahead and share this video with them so that way they know how to get started. We'll see you on the next video.